Good morning. It's I believe March the 11th today. No, it's actually March 12th, 2014. I'm sitting in the Volley Patrol building this morning in the honored presence of Rino DeBiasio, and we're going to have an interview about some stories. Good morning, Rino. It seems that I got this project with the Rossland Museum, Rossland Stories, but on the list they got your name down, a trail boy. Now, I don't know what that's all about. Now, you grew up in trail, but you must have started coming up here at a pretty early age on Red.
Yeah, about 16, 17.
Okay, so when you started coming up, was there a reason?
I worked at a farm up in Rossland, and a dairy farm, and the gal across the way, she was a skier, and so we teamed up, and she was a high school racer at that time, and so that's how I got started skiing up in Rossland.
Okay, so that would have been what year?
About 1953, 52, 51 to 53.
Okay, had you skied at all prior to that?
Oh, just a little bit down in trail, just with our old wooden skis. We climbed the mountains up behind the West Trail, but nothing really to speak of. Just old homemade skis and teat and bindings.
Okay, so in the early 50s, was there a real big draw to come up and check out that new chair on Red? Because that was built in 47, I believe.
Well, the only reason, like I say, I came up, and when I started ski with this friend of mine, then that's when I got involved with the chairlift and that. But yeah.
Do you remember the chairlift?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what was that like coming up?
Oh, it was a dandy. Unloading at Tower 5, unloading at Tower 10. It was quite a deal to get off those things at that time with single speed. You couldn't slow it down, so it was hairy sometimes.
Do you remember some of the early operators?
Oh yeah, it was Fred Simister and Mr. Jensen. That's who lived across the way from us, and his daughter was the one that did the racing at that time up here. And I'm trying to think of there was Jensen, there was Fred Simister. I can't remember some of the real old ones. And then later on, Butch Turner and Lorne McDermott.
Yeah.
At that time. Yeah.
I ended up working with those guys when I was lucky enough to come and help tear down the old chair and build the Red chair. And I worked with Lauren and Butch. Now, in the early 50s, there was quite a race club too, probably.
Oh yeah, there was within the Trail Roslyn area, Nelson area, and then the kids from Spokane and Wenatchee, the high school kids. There was quite a racing program at that time, and they would come up and the kids from here would go down to Wenatchee and Spokane and those areas and ski and come up here.
Yeah, and I believe there were scholarships already back then.
That's right.
I remember Al Fisher telling me that he was one of the first scholarships from Red Mountain.
Yeah, him and George Mary and I think Gordy McKenzie, they all got deals through here.
Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah. Now, I know you've been patrolling for 58 years? 59
no,
years?
I just checked the other night. I'm only 56 years.
Only 56 years. Oh my God, you got some more.
I missed out in a couple of years there.
Now, how did that start?
Because I was involved when I started my apprenticeship. I started doing first aid work at Cominco, and started first aid competitions down there at Cominco. And once I started doing the first aid competitions, some of the people that I worked with down at Cominco were skiers, and a few of them were patrollers, and that's when they invited me to come up and patrol. So that's how I got started patrolling, is through some of the people who were working at Cominco at that time, and they were up patrolling up here. And because I had at that time St. John certificate, I became a member of the patrol up here.
Right. So it was with that kind of first aid training. It must have been a pretty strong volunteer patrol regarding first aid and the ability to perform.
Yeah.
Do you remember some of the guys you worked with way back?
Oh yeah, there was Bart Dudley, Ron Needham, a senior, Morley Wilson, Rick Breezero, Kempstead, Ian Wilson. You're really picking my brain. Trying to think of some of the guys.
No, that's pretty.
Oh, Topliff and Jimmy Douglas. Yeah, I forgot about those guys. Yeah, okay. They were all involved at that time. Yeah.
So you set up schedules and worked around your shifts and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, was it easy to get equipment back then, as far as the Cascade buckets and any of that stuff?
Well, at that time when I started, it was all homemade jobs up here through the fellas, wooden toboggans with the mine rescue wire cages, just bolted onto the wooden toboggans, and we had those for quite a few years until Cascade toboggans came into effect, and then we got the fiberglass ones. So yeah, and that came, I don't know.
Probably in the 60s?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
early 60s, yeah.
Okay, so when you guys were patrolling for all those years, your first aid experience grew and grew, and then it was in, 1965 they built the granite chair.
Granite chair, yeah.
Now they had it together probably from knowing that it's the best idea to put your list to the top of a mountain, and then they decided to put it to the top of granite. That must have changed everything for the volley patrol.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had a pretty good, strong volley patrol, just on red. And then when granite came along, it was a whole different scenario. We expanded. We had to look at, grooming. We had to look at avalanche control and lift evacuation for that type of a chair. So that all had to come into effect.
So
And,
a lot more practices.
a lot of more practices and a lot of know-how from different people on how to do a lift evacuation, how to do avalanche control, and then of course the blasting had to come into effect, with avalanche control. So that all had to start up.
How many of you guys had blasting tickets back then?
There was about 12 of us did it, but only a few ended up with tickets. I was one of them. I think Molly Pez was one. Marty Wilson, Ron Needham, Senior. Yeah, there's only about half a dozen. But there's about 12 or 14 of us took the course. But then some of them dropped out and didn't patrol anymore, and then we kind of took over for a while until the pros came in.
Yeah, and before the pros came in, can you tell us about the accident, the avalanche?
Well, there was a fellow from Swen, his name was, I think. He got caught in just above high spirits there with an avalanche, and that's when we had to start thinking, hey, we got to look at this avalanche control bit. So
And that was the first fatality?
first fatality as far as I knew at that time, but when you think of it, when the guys are working up in Old Glory, how come they didn't get caught on an avalanche? Because they were, going and coming at that time. They were skiing in and skiing out.
So when you got, during that early period, like the mid-60s and up to 1970, did you guys do exchanges with other ski areas, just kind of see what they were doing?
Yeah, we had quite a deal going with Mount Spokane Ski Patrol. They came up and
So like you said, there was the Met boys were going up to Glory during that whole period. They didn't experience any avalanches, or they might have experienced them, but they weren't involved in them.
they weren't involved.
It was probably because of the accident and those situations that the Pro Patrol came in around 74. How did that affect you guys? That was with John Tweedy.
John Tweedy was the first fellows. It was actually a godsend, because at that time the volunteer people were starting to, there was shift work, try to people, to come up, and then try to get people up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and do some avalanche control. At that time we didn't have peepsies either.
Yeah, that's
all
right.
that, and you're on a heavy situation. But we struggled for a little bit in the first few years, and it seemed all right. And then when the pros came in, it was a whole different ball game. They were the ones that were getting paid, and they were the ones that were, if anything happened, they were covered by insurance, whereas we weren't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good when they came in. There was no hard feelings. Well, oh boy, those guys are going to do it. We don't have to go up type deal. So no, that worked out fine.
Yeah, I came in the 70s too, and there was always a good rapport between the volleys and the Pro Patrol.
Yeah.
I think it was I have to look at my certificate, but I believe I was with the group went the second year when they started doing the BCIT Highways avalanche courses, and that set a standard for patrollers to come in the future.
That's
so
right.
You'd have your blasting ticket, you'd have your at least a level 1 avalanche course, which helped a lot, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys that were on those early years of pro patrolling became some of the top guys: Simon Walker, John Tweedy, Bruce Allen. It goes on. Simon Walker. All these guys became either guides or avalanche workers for the highways. So they were learning something here.
Yeah. It was a good stepping stone for them. It was the learning experience up here.
Yeah.
And then they went on.
So over the years, things now, since then we've got the Paradise chair, and now we've got the Gray chair. That's really made a change too, right? For how many volley patrols are there?
There's 40 of us.
40.
40.
Okay.
Yeah. They just increased the volleys, or the pros. I think there's 21.
I just talked to Bruce Ferguson, and they brought in some part-times, but he believes it was 4 full positions pros this year, right? So
yeah.
And they've already had one evac on the Gray chair, and that went off. Some people got a little cool. I think it was a couple hours before they got them off, and it was a cold day.
But now they've got a different system, and I think it's going to work out. It'll be a lot faster if anything happens now.
Right.
They've come up with like something new. You have to experiment.
Now, I look at you. I can't believe it. I mean, you've patrolled for 56, 7 years now. That's hard. What did you start when you were 1?
No, actually, I was, 19 when I started patrolling.
You found the fountain of youth. Now, what keeps you going? I mean, all these years, is it still that much? It's still a lot of fun?
Oh, I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, if you enjoy something, you know, stick with it.
Yeah.
You know? And no, I enjoy doing it. I'm enjoying being with the gang up here. We have a good rapport with everybody. It's good.
And there's some other guys that've been around for a few years too. Now.
Oh yeah. There's still quite a few. You know, there's I guess Molly Pez, the next guy down. Forget how many years he's got in. And you look at Bruce Ferguson. He's been here for.
Bruce
quite
is
a
the
while.
only guy that's still here from the days I was working.
Yeah. Bruce is another old timer.
Yeah.
And of course Potsy, he's not too far behind.
Yeah.
And
No, Bruce has got to work pro for 30 years almost.
Oh yeah. And I'm trying to think who the other volleys who got a lot of seniority on it. Oh, Gordy LePage, he's been here for quite a while.
How long has Gordy been patrol director now?
Oh gee, you got me on that.
Okay. He doesn't seem to lose his interest at all.
No, he enjoys doing it.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah, he looks after things pretty good.
And during all these years, I mean, you've got a life besides skiing, and I know that to keep the shape you're in, you're really into biking.
Oh, I love it.
I know you do. You know, you've been on your bike yet?
Next week.
Next week, I was down in Jarrow Park with my dog yesterday, and it looked like it was a good day for biking.
I hopefully to get out either Sunday or next week.
So tell us about how that all started. How did you get into biking?
I used to ride the bike to work off and on, and then when I retired, I happened to be riding my old bike out at Juanita, and I met up with Richie Mann and Dave, the hockey player. Anyhow, they were out riding, and the next thing you know, I was riding with them, and they said, "Why don't you get a better bike?" And because they were at the senior games levels at that time, eh? And so that's how it got started. There was Jack Fisher and Dave and Richie Mann, and I'm trying to think of some of the other guys that were out riding at that time.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
A bunch. So I got involved with them, and then
Dave Butler.
Dave. Dave was involved. Yeah, so so I just started joining with those guys, and that's how I got into the biking end of it.
Now I see you ride coming up the hill. I live in the Chinese Gardens in Roslyn. I've seen you come through on your mountain bike too.
Yeah.
And I know you're going down to the States for the Masters. You've done really well in those races in St. George.
Yeah. It's been good, but it's tough competition on there. A lot of the old
Well, if you're there, it's got to be pretty tough. Any other guys from Roslyn go down?
No, I'm the only one. There's a few fellows from Vancouver,
Yeah.
and a few fellows from Calgary, and a few from Ontario go down to these Saskatchewan. Yeah, there's a few people from Canada that go down to the senior games down in St. George. It's quite the deal, and it's a good deal. It's a lot of over 300 bikers down there, and so they run a good course. It's enjoyable. Yeah.
So all those years when you were working here, Cominco Tech now treated you well. And that made it easy and they supported the hill a lot too.
Oh, did they ever? They sure did. Yeah, they back in the early days. We had spare parts for the old chairlift was at Cominco warehouse, so anything went wrong, you just go into the warehouse and it's all set aside for spare parts for the old red chair.
Yeah.
Because we come up middle of the night and work, Tom Ross and I. Yeah, and you know, middle of the night to get the chair going or put a part in. He was a machinist, of course. He did the mechanical end of it. Yeah. No, so it was good.
Back in the days, when the lodge came over from Black Bear, and you can still see the bunk rooms up top. Did you ever get a chance to stay in those bunk rooms?
Oh, many years ago.
Tell us about that.
2 bits a night.
Was there any good parties?
Oh yeah, that was good parties in there. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so a lot of
Especially
families.
when you had the interchange from people from the States and from the Kootenays and that. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, the roads weren't as good, so it made a lot. There was a safety issue
I had a
too.
Model A come up and down, so it was good.
So were kids allowed to stay there did they need parents or just friends?
I think it was just friends. I can't remember young kids in there. It was mostly us, like teenagers and older people who had to stay in it.
And how about food? How did you guys? Did you bring your own?
You don't bring your own food that time, yeah.
And was it was a boiler in there?
There was a wood stove down in the center of the in the basement there, and so just gravity heat rises. So that's what.
So it worked well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Howard Katkoff came in, and I remember they were, talking for years about the importance of the legacy of the lodge, and it's quite a job they did maintaining the Rafters Lodge.
Oh, I think they did a terrific job on that. They maintained,
And I think it looks better than it did prior to the upgrade.
Oh yeah. They kept a lot of the old stuff there, which is nice.
I think Jack Mitchell would have been happy.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Walking in there.
Yeah.
And what about the rest of the hill? I mean, the changes are. I can't believe being on the hill and seeing as many day tickets. I mean, have you noticed a huge change this year?
Not at Christmas time, but because of the lack of snow. But it seems in this February seems to be a lot of tourists have come in. And it's nice to see it. And
big groups.
Well, of course, the word is out. This is a good area to ski. I mean, New York Times had a good write-up. Powder Magazine's had a good write-up. So when you talk to these people, they say, "Oh, we read about this in the paper and this and that. We read it in the magazine." And word of mouth is good. People that are here now are coming back next year. Especially once you clean up Gray, it'll be terrific.
Yeah.
It's going to be a heck of an asset to this area.
Yeah, no, they did a great job of getting it open, right?
Oh yeah, that was
and
a big
sometimes
deal.
Is it the locals that grump more than
the
the
locals
tourists?
grump out. that.
Yeah.
They're always grumpy.
That's
People
right.
come from out of town. So
They love
it's-
it.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
Come to our place and you want to complain about stuff. Come to our place, you want to complain type deal. But
Yeah.
this is good.
Now, we had a reunion a few years back, and it was a lot of fun, and I remember you two were the first on the dance floor. I know that hopefully the next time we have another reunion, it'll be sooner than later. Any word? Is there any rumors about that?
Well,
yet?
we talked about it. We were thinking that we should have one of these days. Matter of fact, Rob Dory. When I talked to him, he's working up north now. But last time I talked to him, I says to him, "We got to have another one of these years." He says, "Yeah." He says, "Well, look at things." He says,
Good.
Yeah.
No, that was
He
a
says
lot of
so.
fun last
Yeah,
time. 'Cause I
so-
know I talked to some of the old pros, like
Yeah.
Rowdy Wah and Simon, and they'd love to see one.
Yeah, yeah.
Or an old, like we had that mountain reunion a few years back, and we'll see if we can get something like that again.
"Yeah."
Now, I'm going to be doing another interview with you when you get your 75 years in. I don't foresee a problem there.
I hope not. Hope the legs can still handle it.
Okay,
Yeah.
what are the conditions like today out there?
Well, it's a little hard, but I
Well-
was up skiing yesterday after the sun hit it. It was nice skiing, actually. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
all
so-
those groomers on Gray.
Yeah, they're doing a heck of a job. The groomers, you have to give them a pat in the back because they do one heck of a job. Especially conditions, this year. Hopefully conditions next will be better with more snow. But and then with the cleanup that they're going to do this year, their summer grooming, so that should be good.
So is there any advice you give to somebody that wants to put in 60 years of ski patrolling and then keep an attitude like yours?
Well, you got to enjoy doing it. That's number one. If you don't enjoy doing it, if you're going to be grumpy or something in that line, forget it. And then, of course, you got to keep up with your first aid. I mean, there's changes every year. At one time we could never give you Entonox. Now we can give you Entonox, and so we're improving every year, and different techniques come out every year when the fellas come up from the coast to teach us. So it's the upgrades are there every year, so which is good.
Yeah.
And of course, with our rescue toboggans every year. Today they're having a big rope rescue practice up on Granite because of the situation we have on Gray now, where you're going to have to rappel.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which we did. That's
that's
what
what
we
I was
used
going
to
to
do.
say.
Yeah.
We did that
Yeah,
years
we
ago.
all carry a rappel rope.
Yeah. And now the pros do it. We can't. Well, we can take ropes if we want, but
Yeah.
we don't have to do it. Forget it. I'm not going to pack the extra weight. So now they're having a practice in that. So every year we got to just improve.
Yeah.
And especially with liability, when people always,
In
that's
the-
why the Stalheim fence is up, because of the liability going
That's
back
right.
years ago.
Yeah, I remember
So,
that. And
yeah.
and the helmets and the skis and the
Yeah.
bindings make a difference too.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. I remember one year we had 83 boot top fractures on the red alone. That's from the old bindings, from the marker, the log tongs, remember that?
Yeah.
83 in 1 year. That's
Yeah.
a lot of fractures,
Yeah,
boot top
yeah.
fractures.
No, it's great to see the equipment helping so
Yeah.
much. I know you're dying to get out there.
Oh, anytime.
Okay.
No, we can
Yeah.
keep
No, I
going.
look forward to it. It's
Yeah.
just always a privilege to see you out there, and you're always smiling.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for doing this interview.
No, you're welcome.
And let's go for a few runs.